Yeah, I'ma kill you in a second if I have to. Use my mind as a weapon when I blast through. Put the basics in the basement, no need to ask you.
Let time do its thing. We gon' be right here. Let time do its thing. We gon' be right here.
Right on. Okay, so welcome back to this week's episode of the PT Performance Podcast. We've got me, Mooney, we've got Richo, and we've got Nayte. Following on from last week's episode, boys, we spoke about how to succeed or how to survive, I guess, your first 12 months in the industry as a personal trainer. This week, what we're going to do is follow on from that and discuss more the business model. So what your plan is, if you're a PT and you're looking to get started in the industry, what's your business model? What type of PT do you see yourself as becoming? And how to go about approaching the right facility for you to not just get your foot in the door there, but to succeed and make sure it's the right fit. Richo, what's been happening?
Not a lot. So let's start this. The first thing, I guess, is you've got to figure out what your niche is going to be. So what area do you want to specialize in? Is it women's fat loss, but it's got to be more specific than that? Is it 40-year-old women fat loss? Is it sports strength and conditioning specifically to combat sports? Or is it lean muscle gain in young men between the ages of 16 and 25? I think obviously that's the first thing you've got to figure out. What's your niche? Obviously that doesn't mean that you don't help people that fall outside of that category, but that's just what you specialize in. And then from there, I guess, after you establish that, that's when you try and figure out which establishment, which gym is going to meet the majority of your demographic.
Yeah, good one. Nayte, what about you, mate? What's it mean to understand your niche or to what type of PT you're going to be before making that step?
Look, I still fully don't think I understand niche all that well. Like, I get it, but at the same time, if you talk to someone with more experience, I don't get it. Like, I think there's always a deeper level of niche that you can actually go into. My advice or my situation is often your first inkling of the kind of people you like to work with is often the right one. Or if you change your mind in the first 6 to 12 months, it's often a good change anyway. I mean, a lot of PTs will want to work with athletes or high performers or anything or something like that. I was never like that. I never wanted to work with athletes and stuff. Quite frankly, I find it fucking boring. I enjoy the whole body composition side of things and the fluidity that provides me. So I was always somebody that enjoyed training people purely for the vanity aspect. And there won't be a lot of trainers that will admit that, but I mean, it's my bread and butter. I like bodybuilding. It's always what I started with. So with the fact that I trained a lot of general population people who want to simply look good and move a little bit better, I can probably blend a little bit of the, hey, this will be good for you with the, hey, this will make you look good.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I hear what you're saying, dude. When I first got into it, my main focus was wanting to train with athletes as well. Primarily because I was wanting to train them the way I trained myself and get similar results for myself as I could for them. My early realization there is most athletes don't have the money for ongoing PT. And in a commercial setting, you're going to find even less of those athletes around. So being able to train general pop needs to be number one. You need to be able to train everybody from one end of the spectrum to the other. However, I do strongly believe that you do need to you need to know what your specialty is. It doesn't mean that can be your only focus or that should be your only focus. Yeah. You just need to understand what your strengths are that you can bring to the particular client amongst all the rest of the spectrum of services or technique that you're going to bring, right? So a good way, and a way you can tell this is when you go into a gym, look at the PT board where it shows you what the PTs are. Okay, it'll always have something like what their specialty is, and you'll see muscle gain, fat loss, body transformation. On the Gold Coast, every other one's got comp prep next to it. And we got things in ours where it's big booty gains. You know, we've got all the other stuff as well, but I wanted our PTs to go, well, what do you actually love to do? What is it the thing you really like to pass on to the other people? Now, you're a PT. You'll still help people lose weight. You'll still help people get fitter, faster, stronger. But what is it that you're going to really enjoy and try to attract that particular type of client? When it comes to the athletic thing, it took me a while to get it, but then I realized I could train general pop people with athletic principles and still get them fantastic results that's directly transferable to their day-to-day life. Yep. So, for example,
that's a good point.
Not many people are going to want to ever do a max rep deadlift on a stage, but I guarantee you next time they move house, they're going to remember how to lift properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you. I like that. That's a good thought process to have.
Cool. So you know, when we go into these things, especially now in 2018, we've got a lot more stimulus of what kind of PT you can be from social media, from YouTube, you know, all this sort of stuff. So I know when I sit with PTs, or let's take it back a step, when people contact me and say, I want to be a PT, I want to do my Cert 3 and my Cert 4, one of the questions I ask them is, what kind of PT do you see yourself being? And it's an open question. It's up to their interpretation, how they respond to that. But it's given me some quite interesting answers back that I can then go ahead and work with, you know. So some people straight off the bat have told me, I want to be an online transformation personal trainer. And they could have zero experience in the industry. So then that opens up that line of questioning as to why. What inspired that? Who have you sort of drawn that inspiration from? Why, essentially, you know? What about you guys? When you first started, start with you, Nate. Did you go, I want to be a PT and this is how I'm going to be. This is the kind of PT I'll be.
Look, I've been doing this 12 years now. So I've been doing this since I was 17. So I don't think anyone knows what anything is when they're 17.
Yeah. True.
So that answer can't really be given. I mean, the whole reason why I got into it is because I had a personal trainer with my mum and dad when I was 14. I just by proxy went along to some of the sessions.
Rich boy.
I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to keep doing it. Like, essentially, everything we were doing was wrong. It was bad, poor form, poor technique, whatever. But I just liked the concept of the experience. So that's what drew me and that's what kept me going. I mean, as far as you know, why you want to do it and stuff, you could go with the argument that it's all I've ever known, but really that's not really it. If I wanted to do something else, I'd come back to this purely because I am good at it. There's something that keeps drawing me to it. Now that where I'm at, I'd be silly not to do it purely because of all the experience I've got. Essentially, with 12 years experience, like you guys, we're dinosaurs. I mean, now most people's average lifespan is what, 12 months? Yeah, it's pretty short.
12 months is almost vet status, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we'd be silly to leave it for that aspect because we have that point of difference. But also, we just love what we do. Like, you kind of don't really have a know why, but you just know that you really, really like it and you don't see yourself doing anything else. Yep.
Yeah, that's when their passion's part of your DNA, right?
Yeah, that's kind of where I come from with it. Like, I never really got into it in the beginning with once I hit this target, I'll get to this. And once I get to this, I'll get to this, which if you look at it, was probably a silly way of going about it. And this chat is obviously a really good thing for new people starting out. Hopefully they heed our experience.
Yep.
But I was lucky with the fact that I found something that I liked so early on. And I never had the experience of hating or career change or anything.
You nailed it, Nate. That's what this is about, mate. This is it's about that, because even now there are still a lot of people that enter the industry going, but I just want to train people. I want to work in a gym. I love this, but they haven't had that conversation that took us a few years to have, or to be told to go, well, cool, you do want to do this. It is something that's pretty fun and it can be a great role to be in, but it is a business like anything. It's like your workouts. You don't just lift. You know what I mean? You've got to set yourself little targets and little milestones so you know you're on track. And if you are, did you get there by fluke or did you get there by effort, and then move forward or backwards if you need to regress from there. So I think having this podcast is fantastic for what we're trying to do, because we want people to not have to either make those mistakes or draw out their learning experience as long as we did in some cases, to make really simple revelations in our own business. Yeah.
Another reason why I sort of think, I think a niche market is sort of important is because there's so much information out there to learn, and especially as a new PT, it's quite overwhelming. So I think a niche is good because it allows you to focus on one area to really spend your time in researching and becoming really good at it. And that's what sets you apart, because at the moment you've sort of got so many personal trainers that are like a jack of all trades, but a master of none.
Yep.
So I think if you can specialize in something like for me, it's sports, strength and conditioning, but even more so in the last sort of 3 months, I've really decided that I'm going to try and go down the combat sports way. But it's just given me something to put a lot more time and effort into researching. And the cool thing about that is when you start putting your time and effort into researching something like that, you're going to obviously pick up things that transfer over into everything else. 100%. So you're going to find a lot of stuff that you can apply to your general pop people. So I think that sort of the niche market just also gives you a good idea of where to start learning and focusing your time on your research and your study. Because I think at the start it can be quite overwhelming because there is so much information to learn. And I think it sort of helps you pick the mentor that you want to learn from and start establishing your own style of training. So that's why I think it's important to sort of, in the early days, sort of figure out, do you have a niche that you want to focus on?
Yeah, nice. Now, we heard from Nate what sort of inspired, for want of a better term, that got him thinking, yeah, I wouldn't mind being a PT. Richo, what got you into it, mate? What inspired you and made you go, yeah, this is the path I want to chase?
Mate, when I was 15, one of my family friends was a couple of years older than me, and he was like my idol. And I used to go to his house after school every now and again. And he goes, we're going to watch this movie. Went over to his after school and we watched Pumping Iron. Yes. Doesn't get much better than that. So after, of course, watching Pumping Iron, we went straight to Leisurelink and we signed up at the local gym. And that just had me hooked. And then I thought, what else the fuck would I want to be other than a personal trainer? And so that was when I was 15, and then did all my like school-based stuff through school when I was 17. By the time before I even finished high school at 18, I had my Cert 3 in fitness, my Cert 4 in fitness. I'd been studying my diploma after school, and I had my diploma in fitness as well. And then from there, I sort of decided that, you know what, I love the sport aspect and I love the strength aspect. So then I sort of turned to guys like Joe DeFranco, Louis Simmons, and they're the sort of guys that I sort of was drawn to and sort of tried to base a lot of my stuff off from there. But like I said, because I knew that's what I wanted to focus on, having those guys to sort of draw from, it gives you somewhere to learn from and somewhere to sort of focus all your time and energy. Because like I said, if you're just going into it going, well, I'm just going to get good at training. It's like, well, in what aspect? Where are you going to learn from? Who are you going to learn from?
Yep.
So that's sort of how I got started in it. And now obviously like guys like Danny Lennon, who's like one of the best nutrition guys for combat sports. I love learning from him. I still love learning from Louis Simmons to do with all the fighters as well. So that's sort of where I draw my inspiration from. And that's sort of why I do what I do and love doing what I do.
Yeah, nice, mate. And knowing you for a while now, you can see that in your programming and the style of workouts you get through, and also your clients' results. So that's good, dude. Much the same, man. Westside Barbell was what led me along to DeFranco. So bit of a heavier kid when I was young. I was 85 kilos in year 10. So I was at about 15 years old, started playing American football, and my football coach was a power lifter. And I guess he spotted that I was never going to be a fast guy. Not a speedy dude. So we decided to try and get stronger, a lot stronger. So we spent the next 18 months eating and lifting. And I think within that time, I went from 85 to about 105. And my lifts were up there with some of the men on the team. So I just went, okay, this is cool. But obviously gained the weight that probably didn't need. Now we look back. And once I sort of came across the Joe DeFranco methodology, obviously could have still got those same strength gains while maintaining a much more athletic physique and also results, right? But it served its purpose. It got me into thinking, well, you know, in Australia in particular, if you're into sports, you've got to be a particular shape. You know what I mean? There's only this or this. So that's where I went, okay, well, there's a lot of big units I know that can't play 80 minutes of footy, or they're not going to go play tennis, and cricket's not their thing. So, hey, what about powerlifting? You know, what about the benefits of that kind of lifting can transfer over into their chosen sport? Obviously, more muscle mass means that you're burning more calories as well. So there's opportunities there to show them a different way to burn fat, yeah?
And that's why I think finding out your niche early is quite important, because obviously a lot of the stuff that you learn is going to transfer over into general population. Yep. But it's just going to set you as apart from all the other personal trainers. There's just so many now. Like if you want to specialize in CrossFit, then study the fuck out of CrossFit.
Yeah.
Do your level 1, do your level 2, because that's going to flow across to general pop. That stuff can flow across to combat athlete. It can flow across to everyone. If you want to specialize in powerlifting, do your courses. Do you know what I mean? Specialize in powerlifting, because that, as you just said, Mooney, that can flow across to athletes, can flow across to general pop as well. So I think just sort of getting that, having the niche that you want can really help set you up to, first of all, set you apart from all the other personal trainers at the moment. But it can also give you a good flow-on effect for the rest of the general pop as well.
100%. And look, to be honest, having something that helps you stand out amongst the crowd is definitely never going to be a bad thing, unless it's a bad haircut or something like that, you know. But being able to understand different forms of training and how that can benefit people, but you're specialist, that's definitely going to be a benefit to you moving forward in your career, yeah? What about business plans, guys? Like, obviously, we sort of covered this a couple of minutes ago, saying that the time that we all stepped into the industry seems like a lifetime ago. I know I didn't have I still actually remember my first business plan, and it was absolute rubbish. In fact, my mentor at the time looked at it and gave me a bit of a hard time about it. And in true Australian fashion, when I get a similar style of business plan, I shoot it to shit as well and make them feel a bit silly for handing me something that looks like a Miss America pageant entry. Yeah, I want to make the world a fitter and healthier place. That's my business plan. Okay, so what advice would you guys give, starting with you, Nate, what would you give to a recently certified Cert 4 PT that's getting ready to kick off their career and they've got to put a business plan together?
Well, who the fuck's your business plan for, first off? Like, if you're writing a business plan for yourself, then that's more than likely just writing out numbers and everything like that. Like, you don't need to write yourself like a little bit of, you know, I want to sprinkle the world with happiness and CrossFit. Like, you don't have to write yourself that. If you're writing that for a potential FD or boss, well, then you're giving them a resume, essentially. The only place a business plan makes any fucking sense to me is if you're actually going out for a loan or for some numbers. Everything else is simply just clarity. So your business plan, if you're a sole proprietor working in a commercial gym or whatever it is that you need to do, is you need to crunch some numbers. I want to make X amount per year. That is X amount per week. That is X amount per sessions based on how much I want to charge. Here's how I'm going to get those sessions. Full stop. End of story. Anything else you come up with doesn't fucking matter. Unless, of course, it's a course list as to which you're going to make yourself smart and be able to eventually charge more. The rest of it doesn't matter. Because you know why? Most of us are in commercial gyms. They've got their own business plan. They don't need you giving them ideas on shit. They don't care. Just go in there, run your stuff, crunch your numbers, and be accountable to the data.
And
data matters.
Following on to that, Nate, you're bang on, mate. And this is the thing. That's what I want from prospective PTs. Yeah, I don't want them to tell me how it's going to impact my business or how their business is going to flash. I want them to understand, what do you want to earn each year by doing what it is you're passionate about doing? Okay, what do you need to earn? What does that work out to? Monthly, weekly, daily, and per rate, like you mentioned? Okay, where a lot of them go wrong, if they do come up with that, that's fantastic. But where they sort of cease from there is, okay, well, you need to do 5 sessions a day at $60 a session. How do you get those 5? How many consults do you need to do? How many people do you need to speak to? How many free sessions do you need to complete? All that sort of stuff, right? So that's where I find there's a massive gap where people understand they want to earn 50K in their first year if they're smart and actually realistic about it, versus the ones that come out thinking they're going to earn 100 plus, right? So let's say they go, I want to earn 50K a year. 50K to me means I can pay my rent, I can pay my gym rent, I can service what I need to do, and I can continue to grow, maybe invest in some courses along the way. To get that, I need X per week. To get that per week, I need X per session. How do I get those sessions? Yeah. What sort of background do you guys have?
Well, the thing with that, Mooney, as well is, do you mean, like, just because you start at 50K doesn't mean after 3 months that can't change?
Oh, 100%. So, yeah.
And like Mooney says, if you set it at 50 and then by the 3-month mark you're hitting that target, then obviously, like anything in life, once you achieve that goal, set the next fucking goal.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And then you can go your sessions up from there. But a lot of people do their own heads in because they go into it, like you said, Mooney, being promised the world from their courses, or in their head they've got, fuck, I'm on 80 an hour, I'm going to be a millionaire in the first year.
8 hours a day at $80 an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. So they come out with that sort of attitude, and that's why they get disheartened at the start.
Yep.
And we'll come back to only because I still fucking think of this. One of the biggest pieces of advice I want to give to people, PTs, when they first start is have some fucking bank behind you.
Yep.
Have some fucking bank, because no one will fucking tell you this. When you go for a commercial gym, normally you're looking at $1,000 bond up front and about $1,000 startup fee. So straight away you're up for $2,000, right? Then when you start your business, it fucking sucks. Like I had my business for 3 years in Geelong, and then I moved up to Queensland. I'd been a PT for 3 years. I was doing pretty well. Thought I had it all. Moved up here, was like, this is going to be fucking easy. I know what I'm doing. Let me tell you, it still fucking sucks when you start. You doubt yourself. You have shit fucking weeks. But that's part and parcel of the game. If you don't have money in the bank behind yourself, you start freaking yourself out. And then when you sit in front of people for consults, they know that you're just chasing the fucking dollar.
Yep.
And that's when you very first start PT, I'm not going to lie, you have to have fucking bank behind you. The more bank you can have behind you, the more calm and collected you're going to be with getting numbers and setting your targets and approaching people about it. You're going to be able to be yourself because the dollar doesn't matter. Whereas if that dollar matters whether you eat for that week or whether you pay rent, it's going to fucking show. Yep. And that's where a lot of people fuck themselves up is they think that they're just going to go into it. And like you said, Mooney, they think they're going to make $80 a session from 8 sessions fucking 5 days a week from week 3. And I tell you right now, it doesn't fucking happen like that. But you've got to be prepared for that. If you go in knowing that it's going to cost you $2,000 before you even do a day's work, and then you need bank behind you, because in your first week, even if you sign up 5 people, the first fucking week's going to be unpaid work anyway, because you're going to be giving them consults and complimentaries to get there. So even if you sign up 5, which is pretty, like, as we all know, doesn't fucking happen in your first week anyway.
That's right.
You're going to be earning fucking $0 for the first week. So if you've gone in with $2,500 in your bank and you've just blown $2,000 on your join-up fee and your bond money, and you've got $500 to live off, you're going to be doing it tough. So I just think people I just thought of that. That's one of the biggest things that people don't understand when they go to start in the industry, is that it's going to fucking cost you money to start, and you have to have bank behind you so that you can focus on giving a better service, getting everything else better, instead of just focusing on the dollar value in your head going, fuck, I need this to eat, I need this to eat, I need this to pay rent. And then that fucks everything up from there. And then they start to see how stressed you are, and everything fucking is a downward spiral from there.
People pick up on it, mate. They can feel the frustration and irritation coming from every part of your body. I say the same thing to our guys. If you had $20,000 in the bank right now, would you be closing your consults better than you are today? Would you be providing 100%. A better service to your PT kickstarts than you are today? Would you be walking around the gym, talking to people and helping them out of the goodness of your heart because you want to see them be fitter, faster and stronger for no pay? Of course you would. That's the attitude they've got to go in with, and you can't do that when you're skint or scraping the dollars together, which brings me to my next point. Get a second job. You know, if this is what you really want in life, you might need to work after hours, you know, which in our industry is during hours. You know what I'm saying? So they could do their morning PT, they could do their evening PT. Maybe they've got to go find themselves something to do in the middle of the day. You know, and you've got to be able to chip that.
I'm 50-50 on that one.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, the reason why I'm 50-50 on that is because I've seen so many people that use that as their safety net.
Oh, right? Yeah. I'm with you on that.
So that's the only big thing is, and then what happens is they start to think that they're working really fucking hard. They'll do an hour in the morning, they'll go to their 9 to 5 job, and then they'll do an hour at night, and they're like, oh, that was such a fucking long day. And all they've done is 2 hours of face-to-face value.
Yep.
And they've done no time or effort into building their business, and they've got that safety net that's bringing in their income. So for me, the only time I do that is if you want to start PT straight away, and you got no fucking bank behind you. But to me, you have a cutoff point where you're like, once I had this much bank, that goes the fuck away.
100%, dude. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's I wasn't saying it's like a crutch to fall back on. This is I'm moving away from my job as a tradie or whatever to get into the PT game. Maybe I don't have the bank behind me. I've moved to a new town. I'm saying as part of your business plan, you may need to kick off with a second income during that period of time, knowing at this stage it's off. You know what I'm saying?
That's,
Moving forward.
yeah, definitely. But the biggest trap is that people start going, well, that's the comfortable money. And then they start going, oh, PT's a little bit of just cream on the top. And then that's the way they end up looking at it instead of making it their first business. So to me,
those people have failed from day one any way they do it, dude. So it's got to be in the done with the right mindset.
Yeah. So for me, the biggest thing is I definitely think you try and do, here, put it this way. When I first started, the first 4 years of me being PT, you know what? I fucking did that. I moonlighted as a bouncer. And I tell you right now, the day I stopped bouncing was the day my PT business actually became successful.
Isn't that funny? I had a similar journey for me.
The day I stopped.
Yeah, I was a bouncer too.
Yeah.
I thought we were just flexing muscles here, boys. God, sorry.
But hey, just off on a tangent there. I hear you, man, because it's an easy one, right? That's the hours where you're probably not getting PT.
Yeah. And that's where to me, you know what I mean? Like, learn from my mistake. I thought that was going to help me, but to me, it hindered me because I had that as a safety net, so I didn't put as much into my PT. So to me, it really, you either got to work that 9 to 5 and don't start PTing until you have the fucking bank, or go, you know what, if I'm going to go PT and that, set yourself a fucking time limit and a monetary limit, and then as soon as you hit that, you just fuck it off. Because to me, that's the thing that will prolong you from getting to a successful PT business the longest, is having that second job.
Is that zero option mentality, right?
Burn the boats.
Burn the boats?
Nah, if you, okay, I'm going to take a bit of a harsher stance on this, than Richo is, like he can understand. Take this with context too. I don't have kids. I don't have dependents. I've got my wife. I've got my dog. That's what I've got. This is easier for me to say than it is for somebody else. But if you've got kids, if you've got somebody depending on you and you're wanting to take the jump into PT and haven't got the bankroll behind you, don't take the fucking jump yet. Get some patience about you. Get the bankroll with the job you're in so that when you want to go PT, you can go full-fledged. Because I've got at least 5 stories in the last 2 months of parents, mums with 2 to 3 kids who have taken the jump and they're doing a good job, but they only took the jump once they were financially set to do so.
Yeah, and that's a good call too, man.
Burn the boats. If you do this 2-job thing, I guarantee you, we know how this plays out. There's nothing about it, no gray area. Like, don't give me a fucking story that you got to work labor or you got to do this at a restaurant. No, either do all that or do all this. There's no two, because you know what? You got us 3 vultures who are doing all this and who have all the experience, and organically, I'm just going to swallow you whole.
Yeah, true. And again, another point on that is, again, 2018, you can diversify and draw additional income while still in the PT industry from the industry. So it's not just about drawing income off the gym floor, you know. So there's other ways there, I guess, that you can monetize your efforts without having to go and get another traditional stream of income, yeah?
There are, but if you're looking for those from the start to just survive, you've got into it too early.
Yeah, true. Good call.
Well, let's put a monetary value on it, I guess. What do you think is the right amount for these guys to have in the bank before they start?
How shit's the person?
Yeah, no, I think there's a few variables in there, man. Absolutely.
There is, but I think most people live week to week.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Let's say for the people working week to week, all right. So they're going to come in straight away. You're dropping 2K straight away. You're 2K down. Yeah, and that's and like we talked about upskilling or whatever, but that's 2K down with just the basic certs behind you.
Yeah. That's
not even. Do you know what I mean? Being able to go in and do other courses yet. That's just 2K. So to me, I think
10.
Yeah.
You're saying 10 weeks?
No, 10K.
Oh, right. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I think I was looking like as a time frame. I'm saying, again, so let's go 2 different case studies. Nayte, like yourself, no dependents, just a missus and a dog. Someone who's got a couple of kids, that time or that amount's got to be different, right? But I'd say that if you can, depending on what you can make last for 2 months, Nayte, would be relevant. What I could make last for 2 months would be relevant to me. Yep. So instead of a dollar figure, I think 2 months, if you can get through it 2 months running pretty skinny, you should definitely be able to come out the other end on top.
I retract my statement. Listen to Mooney. That's a better answer.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think. Yeah, look, I think 2 to 3 months. Look, I'm going to say 3 because when you're new to the industry, when you're fresh as fuck, it's a lot tougher. Like if we go to another gym, like you're gonna pick up that client base. You're going to be at 30 plus sessions from the 8-week mark. I think most people sort of 12 weeks. If you can get to 30 sessions by the 12-week mark, you've had a really good. I think that's the benchmark to starting. I think that 12-week initial setup. I think if you can get to 30 sessions as your goal, then you'll be flying from there. I think that 3 months gives you enough to not stress, because 2 months you're still going skinny, which means you're still going to be having that little bit in the back of your head that's thinking a little bit more about the dollars instead of the service that you can provide and being yourself. So to me, 3 months. To me, 3 months that you can survive on.
Do you know something that always intrigues me is that as personal trainers, we tell our clients that they will not get a result doing things ad hoc. We won't get a result if we just come in and do the session and leave. We don't get a result if we don't record, measure, adjust, and go again. Yet look at how many PTs in the industry now don't do any of that for their own business. They just turn up. They turn up, they see what consults they got for the day, they run them, they go home, they turn up, they do the consults. Maybe they got some paid sessions creeping in, they go home. Maybe they plug some shit into an app now because it makes life a bit easier. But how many of them actually sit there and go, I did 20 sessions this week because I spoke to 50 people, of which 40 responded, of which 30 came by, of which 15 got a presentation or a consult or something from me.
Perfect. And there's a lot of going on that. There's a lot of coaches, PT business coaches and gurus getting out there wanting you to do these fucking life programs that fucking cost you more than you're ever going to earn in your first year of PT to start you off. I've got a simple fucking spreadsheet that I fill out every week, which I'm sure Mooney will figure out how we can attach into the show notes. And it has things on it like how many hours of paid sessions you did, how much that yielded you, et cetera, et cetera. But then it also goes into how many hours did you spend on research? How many hours did you spend on audio listening? How many hours of canvassing did you do? So making phone calls. How many hours of walking the floor did you do? How many complimentary sessions did you do that week? And then going even further into that, it has, when you make the phone calls, how many phone calls did you make? How many of those phone calls picked up? How many of those did you convert into a complimentary session? And from them, how many did you convert? So let's just say it takes you 50 phone calls to get through to 10 people. Of those 10 people, 2 people book in. From those 2 people, you get 1 client. That means it takes you 50 phone calls to get 1 client. And then you go from there. Like you're talking about, it gives you the numbers and like Nayte said.
Sorry to interrupt, mate. Are you trying to say that to be successful as a personal trainer, you need to be able to sell?
Fucking
because what you just described then, mate. What you just described then is the very sound basics of any sales program. My early days working in a gym as a membership sales consultant, it's exactly what we had to know inside out. What our numbers were: 30 contacts, 30 attempts to get 15 to pick up, to get 8 appointments, to get 6 to show, to close 4, 2 of which will buy a Kickstart.
Yeah,
and if we weren't meeting those numbers, we knew our week was going to fail.
And that's a good thing I love about this spreadsheet is you don't need all this other bullshit that they try and say. You just need this spreadsheet because the numbers don't fucking lie.
Yep.
Like I gave this to a couple of guys I used to work with, and they were struggling, and they come back and we look at the sheet numbers together, and it's like you did 15 paid sessions, and then you did fucking 0 hours of research, you did 0 hours of walking the floor, you did 0 hours of canvassing, you did 0 hours of birthday calls, you did 0 hours of falling stars. And you're coming to me going, I don't know why my fucking business is failing. What do you fucking think?
Rent's too expensive. People aren't spending money on PT.
Rent's too expensive. The gym's not doing enough for me. Gym's not doing enough for me. Do it your fucking self. Have a look at them.
No, that's a great call, mate. I've seen that. I've seen that worksheet of yours, Richo. And we will. We'll find a way to attach it to the end of the show notes. Worst case, at the end of the show, we'll also let people know how to get in touch with each of us. And I highly recommend you reach out, guys, and try and get that. But I'll find a way to link it. to the show.
Yeah, wicked.
What we'll do is when we put up the website, send us your email address. We'll send you the fucking lead form. How's about we do that way? Easy.
Done. So that's why we got Nate in the room.
Yeah, like
the only reason.
Yeah, like so many people are going to contact us with the same questions to get the same answer.
Yep.
Do
that's
the
beautiful
work.
thing about it. Guys, that's why we've got this group together, and that's why the people that we're going to be bringing on this show are going to make a profound impact in the personal trainers and prospective personal trainers that tune in to watch this show. Because we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not spinning some snake oil bullshit. We're going to show you the meat and potatoes you need to do consistently, aggressively to get this, to achieve this success, right? And if you don't, you're not following the process. It's as simple as that.
Easy.
And that's the thing is it is simple, but you got all these coaches and all these fucking gurus that want to make it more fucking complex, and it makes all these new guys get so fucking overwhelmed that it's not that fucking difficult. It just needs to be a simple process. And like Nate said, like Mooney said, you just need to do the work. You've got your basic, simple guidelines to do, and then put in the work, put in the time at getting better at your craft. That's all it is.
Beauty. So business plan, basically, what you need to survive, what that's going to break down to on a monthly, weekly, and daily rate, and then what you need to do in order to achieve those hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly rates. Yep.
Yes.
Pretty simple, eh?
And you won't be doing that with 2 jobs. So take your pick.
So make a decision, rip that Band-Aid off and get straight into it. 2 to 3 months of capital behind you. Yep.
Yeah.
We're picking out the best place that suits us. I mean, if I am the lord of CrossFit and the facility that I'm looking to get into has zero equipment, space, or culture towards it, it's not the place to go. Or you're going to have to develop a new niche. Yep. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, but I guess if you want that to be a niche, then don't fucking go there. Don't start there.
That's what I'm saying, right? You've got to pick the right place.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
What else we got on the cards for this one, boys? Obviously, the type of PT we want to be. We've discussed that. What a business model is and how important it is. What inspired us to get involved. How to set your business goals. We're about that 2-minute drill. Nate, anything you want to finish off the show with?
Well, if we want to quickly talk about picking a facility, for most people, 9 out of 10 listening to this, 9.5, either work for somebody else or go work at a commercial gym, because you aren't going to be getting leads yourself at the beginning if you've never done this before. Go somewhere that can provide you the leads and provide you a membership base you can access. How many trainers do they have? How many members do they have? How many people do they sign up on a monthly basis? You're allowed to ask those questions. If they don't want to tell you, don't work there.
Yep. Richo?
Yeah, like I said, go in with bank behind you, pick the place that suits the niche that you want to work with, and then once you get in there, find the most established trainer in there and pick their fucking brains. Like, if they've lasted a long time, there's a reason why, and go find out why. The problem is so many people come in and they've been fucking lifting all their life, so they've got a 6-pack, and now because they've got a 6-pack, they think they know more than every other trainer in there. I tell you right now, you fucking don't. Go and learn from the guys. Go and learn from the dinosaurs. It's the best thing you'll ever do.
That's normally us, and we don't mind chatting. So,
and you know what? That brings me to my bit at the end of this story is, guys, if you're looking for a personal trainer, coach, mentor, someone that's going to help you kickstart your career, if they're charging you to discuss the shit we're talking about, it's the wrong guy. If they don't want to have the chats about what numbers it takes to succeed, or at least how to measure those numbers, it's the wrong guy. If they're wanting to charge you or coach you in NLP and all that stuff before you even understand how to make a phone call to a prospect, that's not the guy, right? So if they're charging you for any of that shit, look elsewhere, like here, once a week on this channel. We'll give you that shit for free because we want you to succeed, because better quality trainers helps everybody.
Absolutely.
Cool. Richo, where do people find you on social?
I don't even know what my handle is. Just type in Richo. Yeah, just type in Richo Strength and Conditioning, and
look, we're meatheads anyway, so I'm going to put that slide at the end of the show. Guys, we're all on Insta. Get on there. Sometimes it's just for a laugh. Other times we drop some real shit. This is coming out once a week. Make sure you tune in. I guarantee you the quality will get better. But right now we're just trying to spit it out there and get things happening so you guys can benefit sooner. Nate, anything to finish on?